What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 10 of Pentesting for Noobs. It's been a while since we've seen each other, and we are back with some new material. So, today's episode, we're going to be covering a box called Netmon. Now, Netmon is going to have some familiarities to us in the terms of what ports were open and how we might be able to exploit those ports. But we're going to take a different path today, and we're going to learn some new concepts, do a little bit of manual exploitation, and hopefully get root in the end. So as always, if you're new to the channel, first time, please do hit that like button, that subscribe button, and do leave a comment down below. We are close to 50,000 subscribers, which is blowing my mind. You know, we started back in February with the relaunch of the channel and hit 1,000 around there. And now to see that we're almost at 50,000 before the end of the year and pushing maybe even to 60, fingers crossed, before the end of the year really, really makes me smile. So I am thankful for you guys, and I'm really excited for this journey. So with all that being said, Netmon lives at 10.10.10.152. Go ahead, jump in your Kali machine, your Parrot machine, whatever pentest machine you use. Get your Nmap scan running, and let's go ahead and check out Netmon. All right, so let's look at our scan here. We have a report back that says port 21 is open, which means we have FTP, the file transfer protocol. And right away, FTP anon, it says anonymous FTP login is allowed. This means that we can log in as the user anonymous and gain access to the file share. Not necessarily a big deal, except if you look at where it's placing us, look at the printout of this already. This, to me, looks like we are in the C drive, right? So if you see a users folder, a Windows folder, etc. So this, not so great if you're a sysadmin and you allowed this open. On top of this, we scroll down a little bit and we see, okay, port 80 is open. Port 80 has something called Indy, HTTPD, 18.1, blah, blah, blah. You see this Passler PRTG bandwidth monitor. Network monitor Netmon, which is what the box is called. Box always gives you a good hint, right? So we know we're up against this, probably some route of exploit through Netmon, at least somewhat, right? Usually there's a hint there. So we'll go check that out. We've got RPC open, which we expect when we have 139 and 445. We see from 445 that's telling us that this machine is a 2008 R2 or 2012. We'll see how right that is in a little bit. And then you see a bunch of RPCs open up here. There's also a web server open, it looks like on 5985 and 47001. Both of them are not found, so probably 404ing of some sort. That doesn't mean that just because there's a 404, there can't be a web page sitting beyond these. We could use dirbuster or look with dirb or whatever and try to do some directory busting, see if there's a hidden directory back here. Just because the index 404s doesn't mean that the rest of it's going to. So with that being said, let's scroll back up and talk theory. So if we talk theory, port 21 is open. We have anonymous login. We already know the password. We have access to the entire file system here. There's also a web server running. So when we talk about port 21 being open, and we talked about this in the past, with port 21 being open, we can upload a file. There is no code execution there on its own. Now, this is Microsoft FTP. If it was a different file protocol FTP server, maybe there's remote code execution already built in, some sort of buffer overflow, something that allows us to, get that shell back. But here with this FTP in particular, it's not. Now, FTP as a whole, just from logging in, all we have access to is to put files and get files. That's all it is. We're transferring files. It's a file transfer protocol. Because of this, we cannot execute anything. We could put malware on here all day, right? We could put anything malicious we want to. Doesn't mean it's going to get executed. On the other front, we have a web page open. Now, this web page, I'm guessing, just a hunch, not sure, is likely running on this inetpub here. Now, inetpub is IIS. This is a Windows server, so it's likely running IIS as a web server. Now, again, I could be wrong here. It could be hosted somewhere else, and these IIS servers could be for this down here. I'm not sure. But the instinct that I have here and what I'm seeing and what I'm getting at is the first thing that I saw is, okay, port 21's open. I have the ability to upload a file. Now I need the ability to execute a file. Well, there's social engineering, right? We can call up somebody, say, hey, there's this file on this computer. I'm help desk. Can you run it for me? The other option, which we don't have in this instance, is to say, how can I execute a file that I put on there? Well, a web server is a fantastic way. If you remember boxes in the past that we've executed files via FTP upload into a web server, right? So same kind of thought process here is if I can get this file onto this web server, maybe I can execute that and get a reverse shell. Now, I don't know if that's the box's intention. And when I went through this box, there's actually a different path that seems even a little bit easier. So let's poke a little bit first before we go down this anonymous login path. And let's poke at port 80. Now, another thing to note too is that if you have access to this machine as anonymous user, you can likely grab the flag of the user already, depending on the permissions. Even chances are you might be able to grab the root flag. I highly doubt that, seeing that it's a capture the flag box. They probably want you to do something. So you could probably grab the user flag off port 21. We're going to ignore port 21 completely though. Now, if you want an adventure and you just want to play around, a good idea here would be to log into port 21 via FTP, anonymous login, and try to find this file server and see if you can't execute that against this here and get a reverse shell of some sort. Get an ASPX reverse shell or ASP reverse shell. We've done it in the past, so I don't need to show you how to do it, but think of that process through and you might be able to get a reverse shell that way as well. But from here, let's poke at this port 80. So let's go out to our PRTG here, and I definitely just went Canadian because that car horn scared me. So said oat there. Let's go out to our 10.10.10.152, and you see that we have a login here. Now, when I see a login, there's immediate things that I want to do. I want to Google immediately PRTG network monitor default credentials. Let's do that. Okay, so we'll go out to the interwebs, go to Google, and we'll say default credentials. That's one thing I want to Google. And we'll look here and see if there is, we'll go to this. This is from 2010. So PRTG admin. Let's try it. It never hurts. Especially if we're doing an internal, oh my God, on internal assessments all the frickin' time, default credentials, and it just ends up being bad. Okay, credentials aren't default. Another thing, let's talk about exploits. Let's look at exploits here. And perhaps there is a remote code execution for us. So let's open a few of these. Let's open this one. Command injection. Okay, I'm opening, well, CodeWatch, I don't know about CodeWatch. Let's just open this one first. So PRTG network monitor remote code execution, but it says authenticated 18.2.38. Does this tell us what it is down here? 18.1.37. Okay. Let's read the description here and see. So remote code execution version 18.2.38. So this was on a later version. It doesn't say specifically in here whether or not this applies to earlier versions. Usually you'll see like a little, greater than, less than sign telling you or indicating. It doesn't really here. What we can do is we can at least give it a go and see if it works. We can download this and try. We can see that it's just a bash script, and then we just execute against a web page, and we provide a little bit of information here. It looks like just providing our cookies. So the big issue, though, that we have is that it is authenticated. So we need to be able to log into this. So we need to look for a database file or where that might be stored. Perhaps we can go to Google and say something like db file location and see where it stores its data. So let's see, where does it store its data? There's one. This one looks like it could be promising as well. And program files, PRTG network monitor, x86, PRTG network monitor, and there's also program data, application data. So it looks like we might have to do a little bit of hunting around. There's a log database, configuration, to-do database, there's backups. So the reason why I'm thinking about this is I'm thinking about this to say, hey, okay, well, where can we find this information of maybe a credential stored? That's maybe what I'm after here is like, can I find a credential that is on this system? Like where might I be able to find that? So if they're in program files is a credential stored in like a database, maybe I can pull that down and we can access that, right? So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to look through the files. We'll look through the users folder and try to find the files. Now for time purposes, we're going to go ahead and just kind of cheat a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and go back out and we're going to open up a new tab, make it all pretty and big here. And we're just going to FTP out to 10.10.10.152. And I'm back to being American with my outs. Anonymous. Okay, we are here. We could say ls. And you see we're in the C drive. So let's go ahead and cd to users, if I can type. And then ls here. And we are at the users folder. Okay, so let's see what else is here. Can we lsla this? Hey, look, there's some hidden directories. So let's try to go to cd all users. See if that works. Okay, cd all users. ls again. Look, there's that password folder we saw, right? So let's cd into that. And actually, let's back up one. Let's lsla to make sure, because there was an application data folder that we saw, and I think actually that's where it resides. So if we come back through here, all users profile application data passler. So that's a little trick there. Let's cd into this application data, and I'm guessing that there is a passler folder in there. Oh, access denied. Okay, so maybe we can't get to the application data folder, but maybe we can get to the passler folder that we're after. So let's go ahead and just copy this and see if there's not an option just to go right into that folder. So let's cd and say paste here. Oh, of course. I forgot to copy the A. All right, let's paste it now. Aha, successful. If at first you don't succeed, pick yourself back up and try again, right? Don't remember who that was? Aaliyah, Ashanti, one of the two. Anyway, so now we're in here and look at this beautiful, beautiful stuff. We've got this PRT configuration .dat, .old, .back, and we can look through these and see, what we can find here. So how about we download these? So let's go ahead and just do a git, and we'll download these 3 items. So I'm going to copy them and paste. Okay, and then I'm going to say git, and I'm going to copy and paste again. I'll just switch that to old. And then I'm going to git, and then we'll just paste one more time, and we'll do old.back, like that. Okay, so we've got all the files now. Let's go ahead and hit buy, exit out. So I should have ls, if we grep the PRTG, we should have the 3 in here. So let's try to cat out the PRTG configuration.dat, and we'll just grep for that PRTG admin, because that was the username that we used. Okay, there's that there. Let's go ahead and let's gedit this PRTG and see what's in there. And let's do a Control H, or Control F, I should say. Control F, and we'll say PRTG admin. And there's a 1 of 1. When we see a login, we see a password. The password here has been encrypted. Okay, so this one's not it for us. Let's go ahead and do a cat pr, or we'll do a gedit prtg configuration.old, and we'll do a control find. Let's search on password. That's not gonna work. Let's search on prtg admin again. And let's look at that password. That password is also encrypted for us. So let's try one more thing here. Let's try last one of gedit prtg admin or .old.back. Do a control F and we'll do prtg admin. There we go. Look at that. So, of course, somebody's driving by with a really loud car. Okay, so we've got prtg admin and we've got these credentials. Let's go try to log in, shall we? So let's go here and let's go paste and let's go one more where I can find my gedit, and we'll copy this and paste it. Now, this is going to be realistic. Watch this. Log in, it's going to fail. Okay, let's do it one more time. prtg admin. I'm going to paste this. I'm going to back out one and do a 2019. I'm going to put a 9 in there and hit enter. And now things have changed. Okay, why is this realistic? Why do I say this is realistic? This is realistic because we just changed one number off of a password and gained access. Password reuse is one of the biggest issues that we have in the industry. When we talk about like the fall 2019, summer 2019, people use that all the time. So if I see somebody's old password was summer 2019, I'm going to try fall 2019. Or if I see somebody's previous password was like Joe Bob 2018 and now it's 2019, guess what? I'm going to try 2019. You have to think logically, think of the year you're in and think that, okay, well, this password's from a backup file. It's old, so we're going to go ahead and just give it a go with the new year and see what happens. So we did that. We got the new year. It worked out really well for us. So from here, I'm going to open up Burp Suite. And I'm going to close out of my other Burp Suite. Okay, and we are on the free edition. Actually, I'm on professional still. I guess I have 2 professionals up. That's fine. You're going to be able to do exactly what I'm doing on the free edition. I must have just removed it on this one. So what we're going to do is we've got our proxy set up. It's already grabbing stuff. So we're going to have our proxy set up. If you don't have your proxy set up already, make sure your intercept is on. You should be familiar with Burp Suite. I'm using Foxy Proxy here. However, if you want, we can go into Preferences, and we can scroll all the way down, and we can go to Settings, and you can also do the manual configuration here, which would be 127.0.0.1, port 8080, and you should be Gucci fam. So should be good to go once you have this set up. All you got to do is set up your intercept and then try to refresh a page. So it should hang when you refresh it. Okay, and now what we're after is this cookie. So if you recall from the exploit, we come through here and you see that we have your cookie that you need. Once authenticated, you grab your cookie and use it with the script. So it's got a little bit of extra here with the cookie. We don't have that. We just have this octopus. So we're going to take this octopus cookie and use it in our script. So what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this guy. And there is a download feature, but let's just copy this. And what we'll do is we will make a quick script. So we'll come in here, new tab, and then we'll just say gedit new.sh because this is a shell. Hit paste, and then make sure you put an enter here at the top just so it can declare this. I had issues earlier with it not declaring. So we'll go ahead and save this. And then we're just going to run it via the parameters. So we're going to run new.sh, U for URL with the IP address, and then C for cookie. So what we need to do, as always, with a exploit, we're going to add the +X on the change mode so we can make it executable. Then we're going to say new.sh, and then we're going to say HTTP 10.10.10.152. And we got to provide that wonderful cookie that we have. Let's go ahead and just copy this guy and paste it and let this fire. Okay, so this is going to go through, and if it's successful, it's going to try to create a user pen test in the administrators group with the password of pentest. Now this is going to do it on the actual machine itself. So we can try to connect to this. So what I've showed you in the past before is using something like psexec. But I do want to point out, and we've used that in Meterpreter, I want to point out that you can use that without, or with Metasploit, but we can use it without Metasploit here, right? So there is a toolkit already built in to your Kali Linux, but I want to actually show you a better way of using that toolkit. So if we go out to the Google machine and we go to Google, and I still have my intercept on, let's go ahead and turn on intercept off, and we say Impacket GitHub. Now I already have this installed on my machine. This is my pentest machine, but go ahead and click on this first link. And let's go ahead and just do a clone or download here. You're gonna copy this. And what you're gonna do is I want you to go into your opt folder. This is where I like to install things, in my opt folder. Say git clone and paste that. And mine shouldn't clone because I already have it. So let yours install really quick. I'll stall here and talk for a second. Once it's already installed or downloaded, at least go ahead and go to cd impacket, and it should just be a pip install, I believe is how you run this. So pip install period. So if you do not have pip, you can do pip3, I do believe, or you can do apt install pip or python pip are the options. And that will get you pip as well, but you should just be able to do pip install period, and that will install everything for you. Mine should have most of this already installed. Yeah, and it says I need a newer version of pip. That's fine. So it actually installed some new stuff for me. But what's nice about this is that it will install this and allow things to run, like I could just start typing in psexec, and we could just say psexec.py. Now, when it comes to pen testing, this method is picked up a lot less than the Metasploit method. This still uploads some sort of reverse shell, but Metasploit's picked up a lot easier by antivirus, especially when you don't know what you're up against. You're against your first shell, etc. Even better is something like SMBexec or WMIexec. All of those use the same syntax. They're part of the same package. SMBexec and WMIexec get picked up way less than psexec does. But I do like a good psexec, so let's go ahead and just try this. And what we're going to do is we're just going to use those credentials. We'll say pentest, and we'll just say P3NT3ST exclamation, like this, and then we'll just say at 10.10.10.152. And let's see if this works. So immediately we know we have an account here, immediately, because it's requesting to share and it found a writable share. Now it's trying to upload that file onto that share, open this as SVC manager, and hey, let's see, who am I? We did it. We're on there. We didn't use Metasploit. We got on here. So all you people taking the OSCP or wanting to take the OSCP, you yell at me about using Metasploit. Look at this. It works. Okay, so now you can go find your flag. You'll be Gucci gang. So what we're going to do, we can control C out of here too. And just to prove a point, for a real pen test environment, WMIexec, not a fully executable shell. It's semi-interactive, so you will be able to run some commands, some you won't. But this is a good way to kind of navigate yourself around the network and just kind of see where you're at. Or you can see dir and see where we're at. Okay, so you can see where you're at in the system and kind of get a feel for that. Control C again, and just to prove, let's check out SMBexec and see if it works. So different ways of getting shells. Again, semi-interactive. The fully interactive is the psexec, and I love the Metasploit or Meterpreter version because you do get that extra benefit of having that C2 server, and you also have the benefit of having all the packages that you can load with Meterpreter. But here's a proof of concept that you can use psexec, and especially if you're up against antivirus or something, then you can go to like program files, or you can even look through, you can query and see what kind of antivirus is in there, what kind of firewall rules are in there, and you can kind of get the lay of the land with your SMB exec or your WMI exec or even PS exec before you actually try to attempt a Meterpreter shell and tip off on the antivirus side of things. So that is it for this lesson. Hopefully you guys found it interesting and understood the thought process that I have. And I do challenge you to start thinking outside the box and just thinking the little things. Don't like good example is finding that password and then trying it and then just being like, oh well, it didn't work. I got to go look for something else. Increment the number. It's 2019. Increment the number and see if it works. Just think like a dumb user would think, and you will be successful a lot of the time. So thank you as always for watching these videos, and until next time, I really do thank you for joining me.